And I'm looking at these videos, I don't see any deadly physical force being used against a cop or someone else.
I had to talk to my son when he first got his driver's license. And I had to let him know, listen, you get pulled over by the police, turn the car off, put your hands on the steering wheel and don't move.
Law enforcement reaction to any criticism is labeling anti-law enforcement.
I talk about police all the time. I'm talking about the bad police.
They label me anti-law enforcement. I can't be anti-law enforcement. I am in law enforcement.
I've been on the police force
29 years and 7 months.
I'm in my 17th year.
27 years in corrections.
This has all been building.
Where do we go?
This is it. This is the critical point here.
Faced with this violence, we wonder if the divides of race in America can ever be bridged.
2 controversial police shootings of black men only separated by a day, followed by 2 police ambushes that left 8 officers dead. If you're anything like me, I imagine you're asking yourself if there's even a solution to this problem. Each faction seems to be retreating to their own respective corners.
Is Black Lives Matter a hate group?
So I decided to talk to a group often left out of the conversation, people who are both black and in law enforcement, to see if there was a middle ground somewhere. Here's what we know. About 30 officers have been killed on duty this year, compared to 16 at this time last year. More white people are killed by police each year, but when you look at these numbers based on percentage of population, black people are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by police. I sat down with 4 black officers from the New York area, both on the force and recently retired, to ask them what it's like to be caught in the middle of this heated debate. No, these 4 men don't represent all the views of black officers, but their unique perspective is worth listening to.
As a law enforcement officer and a black man, it's always been tension.
In the hood, there's that code, no snitching. So the cops don't give up their own either.
How do you stand up for your community and work in a department that does not treat your community the way it treats other communities?
I sensed very early on that black police officers were afraid to speak out.
When you speak out, you're called a racist.
You get it from both sides, you know. You get it from, if you're locking somebody up, oh, you're a traitor, you're Uncle Tom.
I've been called a sellout N-word while I was in uniform, you know, so it was tough.
When I saw the Eric Garner video, the first thing I saw was the tactics was wrong.
And it's clear in the policy that you're not supposed to use a chokehold. I thought there would be some type of accountability.
Put your hand behind your back. You got all these experts. Oh, if he could talk, he's breathing.
It shouldn't even have got that far. Well, I understood the Black Lives Matter movement.
It needs to be around.
Some will complain, well, all lives matter, but that's to me a cop-out, because if you have intelligence, you know why the movement was started. Black Lives Matter movement, they definitely need to come out and say that we're not anti-police.
They're not clear on where they're going.
I think it's a lot of things Black Lives Matter could do differently. They got to get these relationships with the police.
The suspect said he was upset about the recent police shootings. The suspect stated he wanted to kill white people, especially white officers.
First Dallas, now Baton Rouge. 3 officers killed today after 5 were killed in Dallas.
I still have plenty of friends, black, white, Spanish, that are cops. I don't want them to be shot down because somebody's mad at police in general. I
felt upset. I prayed for my colleagues who are still out there, who risk their lives every day.
Dallas is one of the most responsible police departments. I was heartbroken, man.
2 officers, black and white, smiled next to a man with a sign that read, "No justice, no peace." I see people who mourn for the 5 officers we lost, but also weep for the families of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile.
You got to sit down and break bread with these people.
if we're as great as our politicians say we are, we need to overcome this, and we got to sit down and talk.
If 99% of the good police talk about the 1% of bad police, trust me, this goes away.
Right now, police officers live everywhere but the community they serve.
If they had a community cop out there in Staten Island on that corner with Eric Gardner, he could have came over and talked to him. Listen, man, come here. You gotta go.
Black law enforcement needs to be a part of the conversation. We haven't been. We've been quiet for a long time.
I have a lot of hope that things will change.